You see that? All of those cars are the actual cars. Of course, a very iconic. On this area, I really don't know what's happening or what's going to happen. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening everyone. Welcome back to our channel, Mad Corner here. And right now you might be wondering what's this background behind me, and it looks so cool, right? Let's state some facts first. Nagoya is not as popular as Tokyo, Kyoto, and even Osaka because for the past few years, I don't know how many years now, but it has been living under the shadow of those three when it comes to a destination for tourism because most of the itineraries revolve around those three. But based on what I can see, Nagoya is a reliable place to live in between modernity and culture. I guess the keyword there is reliable. And one car brand fits that word perfectly. I am not a car guy, but I have a good idea of what is what and which is which. Come to think of it, Toyota is like a father figure. Reliable, trustworthy, and you can't even question the durability. But you might be wondering how come we are talking about that, because behind us right now is the Toyota Museum and we're going to explore it. Also, boys, this is a paid museum, alright? So you can buy your tickets here right in front for only 1,000 yen, and we got ours over here already. Just in case you don't know, Toyota is a textile company. This is where it all began. As far as I know, Aichi Toyoda is the brain or the one who started the entire thing. And then Kichiro or Ichiro Toyoda is the one who explored everything when it comes to the automobile industry. Okay, it says here, Kichiro Toyoda is the founder of Toyota Motor Company. This is the part where we are about to enter this time capsule where they will explain the origin of everything for Toyota. So we have here the modernization and industrialization in the late 19th century, the mechanization of everything. Here you go. And then the birthplace of Toyota, this one. Just in case you are wondering, the birthplace of Toyota in 1911, the weaving factory, that is this place. Yeah, okay, so this is a non-stop shuttle change. So this entire area is all about the weaving machineries that they have back then. And right over here, it says analysis for shedding motion by Sakichi Toyoda. Alright, I have no idea what it means. In the mid-19th century, cotton spinning is their main gun back then. So that is the process, and just for you guys to see how it works, it starts as a cotton and then it goes there where they have to flatten it, I guess. And then it goes right over there up until the weaving machine that they have back then, which is this one. And then you have to turn it around, and the three basic process of spinning. There you go. Very meticulous in the entire process. There's tons of type of fiber, from hemp, wool, silk, nylon, polyester, acrylic, glass fiber, and of course, one of the most popular one, carbon fiber. This is a quick demonstration in the process of the entire thing. It's also cool to see the evolution of the entire thing, from the textile machines that they are using down to this one. You can see that there's a slight change. It's starting to transition to a more mechanic way of doing things. Also, we're not showing the entire place, right? There are some sections that I'm skipping because I want to leave the mystery in your brain and the surprise when you come visit this place. Also, for your travel needs or travel necessities like pocket Wi-Fi, probably some tickets like this one, or for Disneyland, please book them via Klook and make sure to take advantage of our promo code MADCornerKlook, and that will give you 3 to 5% discount. Well, for me, I love having those discounts, right? Who doesn't? And the best part is that you can help your boy out here by using our promo code. Again, that's MADCornerKlook. The advancement of their technology is starting to show up very far from how it started. This is around 1900s or 1910, and yeah, starting to get massive already. Well, this one is cool. I think I like this one better. It is more appealing in the eye. I don't know why. Probably because of its circular motion, so it has that fluidity. This place is an eye-opener for us, or a reminder for us of how far we've evolved when it comes to mechanical things. Well, that machine uses high-speed stream of water to start weaving. And now we are about to start seeing the Toyota as a car. This is where it starts. So I think this is the press that they use when it comes to forging. You might be wondering now what you just saw. That was a demonstration of 120-ton forge press. I think now we're about to enter the area where it's about to get more interesting. I really like that once you enter the automobile pavilion, you will be transported into a homey room, homey feel-like room, because that's how everything started. And with the technology and the culture being together, that's this place. So they're starting things like this back then. And look at this one. See? Kiichiro Toyoda started the automobile department, I would say, around 1933. And this is how it looks like back then. Of course, during the early days, hand forging is the only way that time. That's why you will see that a representation, and then they are trying to make sure that everything will perfectly align with each other, because you won't be able to connect or build the body of the car. And you can see here the evolution from that to this beautiful one. Imagine this kind of timeline. By 1937, you're starting to develop things and we're able to establish things. And then down to the 1940s and to the 1944, specifically 1945, everything was destroyed because of air raids during the war. That is a massive hit to your business, but you know, there are things that you can't control, but they were able to thrive through it and punch through that problem, and Toyota bounced back. It's also nice to see here the transition from Toyota to Toyota. So you can see the emblem over there. The one on your left is Toyota, and then the one here at 1937, it became a registered trademark and became Toyota. This one. There was even a competition for the emblem or the logo creation during that time. That I did not expect to happen. There was a contest for improving or for creating the Toyota logo or emblem. That's nice, that's cute. We are now heading to the next room, and boom! Finally, the language that we want to hear, where we find things more interesting. The cars of Toyota. Alright. Everything's alive. Look alive, boys. For people with the timeless taste out there, the Toyota Pet Crown back in 1955. It's so cute, man. Look at it, the insides of it. Damn! These are the original Toyota emblems back then. And then right over here, boys, this is a 1/5 or 1/5 scale of the Toyota Model SA. To give you an idea of how massive this place is, we're going to pan this thing to you guys. You see that? All of those cars are the actual cars that they have created through time. So it gives you a feeling of using a time machine and being able to see all of the old school cars that they have produced up to the modern ones. And then over there is like, I think they're showing how do they assemble cars. So we're going to check that one later. But first, let's indulge ourselves about the beauty of the insides of Toyota cars back then. So look at this thing. So this is a 1955 car. I don't know what model this is, but that's how it works. There's a fan, the motor. It's cute. I assume that this is the heater and the cooler part of their product during that time. So yeah, look at this. Toyota Crown. During that time, it says Toyota Pet Crown. And by 1960, boys, they are starting to change the design and they are looking far better. What's this? Oh, this is the 2000 GP Toyota. And then right over here, the Toyota Sports 800. These are 1.5 scales, by the way. This one, I'm not sure what this is, but this was made during 1961. This is the Toyota ESV. So this is where they introduced the bumper safety mechanic that they have. So yeah, for its looks, I really dig the cream and black one. Very timeless, indeed. Things are starting to be more technical now with the motors, the technology. They're starting to develop far better compared to the early days, of course. And this one, this looks good that they were able to chop it off into half and show the insides and then the outer part on the other side. This is the Prius PHV, their first hybrid electric vehicle. That's how it looks like in the inside. Obviously, Toyota is geared up for innovation. That's why they have here the fuel cell Mirai. Look how sexy this car can be. Right? Even though you can see the insides. Now we are down to the ground floor where they showcase the evolution of the cars that they have produced. The 1935 G1, I would say. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know in the comment section, guys, because I'm not really sure about that. And right here is the Toyota Model AA, which they released back in 1936. We're going to look at what's inside of it. Dude, very simple, but the elegance is there. And just like what we saw upstairs, the Toyo Pet Crown, and then the Corolla. This is the first kind of Corolla, I think, back in 1966. And right over here is the Toyo Pet Corona. We can check what's inside, how it looks. It's starting to have more features compared to the earlier ones, of course. And it already has the cooler, I assume. During 1982, this is the Camry back then. And look at the side profile. Very sharp, very sleek. And up until this day with the modern Camry, they still have that impression or the vibe of being slick. And during 1973, they have this Corona, Toyopet Corona, with the vintage designs that we saw for this day. I really like this Celica back in 1970. 1970, yes, Celica 1970. Look at that sexy emblem. Very nice. It's a two-door car, 4 people max, I would say. But if you're going to read its features, they are saying that it has the capacity of having 5 people inside. Of course, a very iconic car, the Toyota 2000 GT, which was released around 1967. Look at it. Very sexy, especially the front part of the car. Dude, it gives you the future, the feeling of the future back then. But don't get fooled because this 2000 GT does not come short when it comes to the design of its back end. And just like that, we are already seeing the modern ones. This is the Mirai 2014 and then this is the Mirai 2020. The blue is really looking good with it. Obviously, in the camera, you won't see the insides of it because of the window tint. But from my perspective, right, very detailed. Tons of features. I'm not sure if we're allowed to open it, but I'm not going to risk it. Oh, obviously, we're not because they have a sign like this, so we cannot open it. Just when you thought that this is a traditional museum, I hate to break it to you, no, it's not. You can actually step on the brakes and you will feel how good and reliable the brake is. You can also have the feel of the steering wheel over here. So this is the steering wheel of the Celica, and we're going to give it a try. Very smooth. Back in our country, Yaris is a very popular car. So we have it here as well, the two-door Yaris. Alright, have a look at it. GR4. So I'm not sure what that means, but just to give you a quick look of what is displayed over here. Also, a Yaris that was used for racing is displayed over here. 2021 Safari Rally in Kenya. Also, I just want to ask you one thing, guys. If you're not yet subscribed in our channel, please hit the subscribe button because we are trying to reach 10,000 subscribers before the year ends. I know it's a bit crazy for us to think about that, but hopefully we can reach that. So please, don't shy away and hit that subscribe button now. This is how they build the Prius. So you just have to start the operation. You can click the button over here. It's down here. And then it will start operating like this. And enjoy the show, of course. So this is supposed to be the body of Toyota Prius back in 2015. Imagine that kind of technology. The evolution from where we started with the weaving part and down to this. Very far, right? It's like what I always say, one thing is constant, and that is change. And that's what we are seeing here. And then for the next people who wants to give it a try, they can just press the button. There you go, that is the button. And then it will give you another show. Now let's move on to the second part. More of the assembly area. I really don't know what's happening or what's going to happen because everything is written in Japanese characters. So I'm just going to start the operation. And again, let's all enjoy the show. So the body of the car is moving forward. Then what's going to happen next? Machines. Probably checking the tire part or the tire area. Making sure everything is aligned, I guess. So on this one, this is the automatic mounting of engine and chassis. So it is starting to demonstrate it now. So let's all watch it, boys. In the middle part of the entire floor, you can also get your charm or a souvenir for the from the Toyota Museum. This is a Model AA charm, as they call it. The machine is also going to show you how it's going to happen, how are they going to build it for you, and it might take some time, probably a few minutes. And just to make things clear, that is free, alright? You don't have to pay anything to get that keychain. If you want more souvenirs to what is given for free inside, you can go on this souvenir shop, museum shop as they call it. You can easily locate it before you go outside of the museum. That sums up our Toyota Museum experience here in Nagoya, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching this episode. And if you do, please hit that subscribe button or like this video. And make sure to throw some suggestions in the comment section as well. Let's see each other again next week. Mad Corner, I'm out.
You feel alive, let's hit the dance floor. Don't work too hard, my break a backbone. Return